A decorated police captain walks into a mall to buy her niece a birthday present. 20 minutes later, she's in handcuffs, slammed against a wall and being told she's going to jail for theft. The officer arresting her has no idea that he just made the biggest mistake of his career, and every second of what happens next is caught on camera. Before we go any further, drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. And if you want stories that expose the truth about power, corruption, and the people brave enough to fight back, hit that subscribe button. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't just a story. It's a warning about how broken systems protect themselves and what happens when someone finally says enough. This is the story of Captain Denise Carter. And by the time we're done here, you're going to understand exactly why her arrest sparked a movement that brought down an entire criminal enterprise hiding in plain sight. Saturday afternoon, Greenwood Mall. Denise Carter had one simple goal: find the perfect birthday gift for her 15-year-old niece, Jasmine. After 20 years on the police force, working her way up from patrol officer to captain of the 15th Precinct, she'd earned a quiet Saturday afternoon. She walked through those glass doors, thinking about charm bracelets, about Jasmine's smile, about finally having a day that didn't involve personnel complaints, budget meetings, or the weight of command. What she didn't know was that she'd been marked the second she stepped inside. See, here's what most people don't understand about racial profiling. It's not always loud. It's not always obvious. Sometimes it's just two security guards exchanging glances, a radio call that seems routine, a manager who suddenly becomes very interested in where you're standing. Denise noticed them in a window reflection. Security guard Miller, tall, hand on his radio, eyes locked on her. His partner Davis is shorter, looking uncomfortable but following orders. And Miller's voice carried across the corridor. Black female, brown leather bag, blue sweater, keeping eyes on. She hadn't touched anything, hadn't acted suspiciously, hadn't done anything except exist while black in an upscale mall. And that's when the challenge I want to talk about today becomes crystal clear. Because what happened to Denise Carter that afternoon wasn't an isolated incident. It was a symptom of something much larger, something that's been hiding in American cities for years, destroying lives while generating profit. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Denise walked into Crystal's boutique. High-end jewelry, expensive accessories, the kind of place where everything's locked behind glass. The manager, Linda, stiffened the moment she saw her. That fake smile that doesn't reach the eyes, that tone that's technically polite but screams, "I don't trust you." Denise had experienced this before. Every black person watching this has experienced this before. That feeling of being watched, judged, suspected before you've done anything wrong. But Denise was a police captain. She understood the law. She knew her rights. So she kept her composure, browsed the jewelry, and when she found a beautiful silver bracelet with a butterfly charm, perfect for Jasmine, she asked to see it. And that's when Linda dropped the bomb. "I need to see inside your bag." Think about that moment. You're shopping. You haven't touched anything except what the employee handed you, and suddenly you're being accused of theft. Linda's voice got louder, more confident. "A piece of jewelry is missing from this case. I saw you slip something into your purse." Complete lie. But here's the thing about lies. When they come from someone in a position of authority, when they're backed by security guards and the threat of police involvement, they become dangerous weapons. Denise could have shown her bag, could have submitted to the humiliation, could have proven her innocence right there. But she understood something crucial. The moment you surrender your rights out of fear, you've already lost. "I will not," she said. "I haven't stolen anything, and you have no right to search my personal property without probable cause. Probable cause, legal terminology, the kind of thing a police captain would know. But Linda didn't hear that. She heard resistance. And to people like Linda, resistance from a black woman can only mean one thing: guilt. Security guards Miller and Davis closed in. Last chance. Open the bag, or things get complicated. And Denise stood her ground. Now, I want you to understand what's happening beneath the surface here, because this isn't just about one racist manager and some overzealous security guards. This is the foundation of something much bigger. Miller grabbed his radio. Code 10 at Crystal's boutique. Subject refusing to comply, requesting police backup. Other shoppers were filming now. Phones out, recording everything. And Denise didn't move, didn't give them the reaction they wanted. Just stood there, purse at her side, eyes locked on Miller's. "You're making a very big mistake," she said quietly. She had no idea how right she was. Officer James Raines. Let's talk about James Raines, 20-year veteran, known reputation in the department. The kind of cop who collected complaints like trophies, excessive force, aggressive arrests, particularly targeting black shoppers in and around that exact mall. Denise knew who he was. His file crossed her desk regularly, but Raines had no idea who she was. He strutted into that boutique like he owned it, hand resting on his weapon, that look in his eyes. You know the look. The one that says, "I've got power here, and you've got none." Always the same story, isn't it? He said, not even asking what happened. Denise tried to de-escalate. "Officer, this is a misunderstanding that could be easily resolved by—" Raines didn't let her finish. He grabbed her shoulder and slammed her against the glass wall. The impact rattled the display cases. Shoppers gasped. The glass was cold against her cheek as Raines pressed her harder against it, his breath hot in her ear. "Don't tell me how to do my job. Hands behind your back. Now." And here's where the system reveals itself. Here's where you see how deeply the rot goes. Denise stayed calm. Years of training kicked in. This is excessive force. I have rights, and you are violating them. Rights? Raines laughed. You've got the right to shut up while I add resisting arrest to your charges. The handcuffs clicked shut. Too tight. She'd have bruises tomorrow. And as he marched her through that mall corridor, past all those staring shoppers, past the cameras recording every moment, Denise Carter experienced what thousands of black Americans experience every day. The humiliation, the powerlessness, the crushing weight of a system designed to break you. But here's what Raines didn't know. Captain Denise Carter had spent 20 years learning how that system worked, and she was about to use every bit of that knowledge to tear it apart. Section 4. The Revelation. They reached the patrol car in the parking lot, crowd gathering, phones recording, and Denise made her move. Before this goes any further, she said clearly, voice carrying across the lot, I think you should know something, Officer Raines. Save it for booking, he snapped. I'm Captain Denise Carter, 15th Precinct. My badge is in my front pocket. The crowd's murmuring grew louder. Raines froze. You could see it in his face, that flicker of uncertainty before the denial kicked in. Sure you are, he scoffed. And I'm the police commissioner. But his hand was shaking when he checked her pocket, when he pulled out that gold shield, when the reality of what he'd just done started sinking in. This is fake, he declared, but his voice had lost its authority. Another charge, impersonating an officer. The crowd erupted. She's a captain! He arrested a police captain for shopping. And the phones kept recording, documenting every second of Raines' increasingly obvious panic. Now here's where most people think the story ends. Cop realizes his mistake, removes the cuffs, and everyone goes home embarrassed but alive. Classic case of mistaken identity, right? Wrong. Because Raines didn't remove those cuffs. He didn't apologize. Instead, he doubled down. Fake badge, resisting arrest, interfering with an officer, he growled, trying to force her into the patrol car. And that's when you realize this isn't about one racist cop making a mistake. This is about a system so corrupt, so confident in its own immunity, that even when caught on camera, even with a police captain in handcuffs, it still believes it can win. Let me show you how the machine works. Denise got out of custody eventually, but within hours, she received an official incident report. According to Raines' version, she had been combative and aggressive from the start. She had struck out at officers. She had resisted legitimate security protocols. Classic playbook. File the report first. Control the narrative before the truth can spread. Make the victim look like the aggressor. The report was copied to Internal Affairs, the Chief's office, and the police union. Raines moved fast, trying to bury her before she could fight back. Pause. But Raines made a critical error. He assumed Denise would be like all his other victims, scared, isolated, unable to fight a system with unlimited resources and institutional protection. He didn't know about Carla Johnson, Denise's best friend, and a defense attorney with 15 years of experience fighting cases exactly like this. And when Carla reviewed the report, when she started pulling her own files, she found something horrifying. In the past year alone, Carla had defended 6 clients, all black, all arrested at or near the Greenwood Mall. All were charged with resisting arrest or assaulting officers, all after they filed harassment complaints. Same pattern, same officers. Raines' name appeared in most of them. It's like they're using the threat of prosecution to silence people, Carla told Denise. And that's when they both realized this wasn't about shopping. This was about money. Here's what they found. Every one of those false arrests led to the same outcome: guilty pleas. Most defendants accepted deals rather than risk trial. And every single plea deal included mandatory probation through a private contractor called New Horizon Supervision Services. Private probation. Let that term sink in. Counties outsource probation monitoring to save money. But the fees these people were charged? Monthly supervision fees, drug testing fees, electronic monitoring fees. Some people ended up paying thousands of dollars over their probation period. And if they couldn't pay, violation of probation. Back to jail. More fees. An endless cycle. Denise pulled the internal files. Years of arrest data. And the patterns were undeniable. Location: Greenwood Mall. Officer Raines. Charge: resisting arrest. Over and over and over. Then she found the smoking gun. A memo about the department's partnership with New Horizon Supervision Services. The company's CEO, Richard Greenwood. Same family that owned the mall. It was all connected. The probation company was a subsidiary of Greenwood Holdings, LLC. The mall security firm was another subsidiary. The whole system was designed to feed into itself. Mall security targeted black shoppers. Local police made arrests on false charges. Victims were pressured into guilty pleas. Probation fees enriched the Greenwood family. And anyone who complained found themselves with new charges, new arrests, pulled deeper into the system. 47 cases in 1 year. That Carla could confirm. How many more took plea deals in silence? How many families were bled dry by probation fees? How many lives were destroyed to pad a corporation's profit margin? This wasn't law enforcement. This was organized crime with badges. Now here's where the solution I mentioned becomes critical. Because Denise could have walked away. She could have taken a settlement, signed an NDA, protected herself, and moved on with her life. That's what the system counted on. That's what they designed the intimidation for. 3 days after she started investigating, Denise came home to find her mailbox stuffed with hate mail. No return addresses. Hand-delivered. Crude drawings of hangings. Racial slurs cut from magazines. Surveillance photos of her leaving her house, shopping and meeting with Carla. Pictures of her niece's school. The last envelope held a photo of her arrest at the mall. Someone had drawn crosshairs over her face. They were telling her, "Back off, or we'll hurt the people you love." Then her car was vandalized. Spray painted with "Traitor" and "Keep your mouth shut, Captain." Only someone from inside the department would know her rank. Only someone inside would know she was investigating. And that's when Denise realized the corruption went higher than Raines. It went higher than mall security. There were people inside her own precinct protecting this scheme. Maya Lopez, the journalist helping with the investigation, was attacked while walking to her car. Beaten so badly she ended up in the hospital with a broken arm and severe bruising. Her attacker was a police officer. She knew because she saw his badge when he grabbed her. But Maya's attacker made a mistake. During the assault, he took her phone. And when he turned it on, her security software started uploading everything from his device to her cloud storage. Every payment from Greenwood Mall to New Horizon supervision services. Every kickback to city officials. Every conversation between Raines and Judge Harrison discusses how to expedite guilty pleas. They thought violence would silence the story. Instead, it gave them all the evidence they needed to prove the conspiracy. Thursday night, city council meeting. Every seat filled, people standing against walls, spilling into hallways, camera crews jostling for position. Denise sat in the back, wearing civilian clothes, waiting her turn at the public comment podium. Near the front, Officer Raines lounged in his chair, laughing with Charles Wilson, the mall's CEO. Their comfortable arrogance filled the room. They had no idea what was coming. Exactly 1 hour before the meeting started, Tiana Brooks, the teenager who had filmed Denise's arrest, released the unedited footage. Not just the confrontation, but the 5 minutes before it, showing Raines entering the mall, walking straight to the boutique, leaning close to manager Linda, whispering instructions, showing him setting up the false arrest before Denise even entered the store. The video went viral instantly. While the council meeting was starting, phones across the chamber lit up. People nudging each other, showing screens. Raines' laughter died mid-chuckle. "Next speaker," the mayor called. Denise stepped to the podium. "My name is Captain Denise Carter," she said, her voice clear and strong. 2 weeks ago, I was falsely arrested while shopping at Greenwood Mall. But this isn't just about one incident of racial profiling. This is about a systematic criminal enterprise operating within our city. She laid out her evidence folder. Financial records, internal communications, victim statements. All of it, right there under the camera lights. I have here internal communications between mall executives and police officers discussing arrest quotas, targeting specific demographics. I have financial records showing payments from the mall's parent company to New Horizon Supervision Services. I have emails between Officer James Raines and Judge Harrison discussing how to expedite guilty pleas. The room erupted. Raines exploded from his seat, storming toward the podium, hand moving to his weapon. "You're under arrest," he shouted. But before he could reach her, 2 uniformed officers stepped into his path. Officers from her precinct who'd been documenting Raines' corruption for months, waiting for someone with the authority to expose it. "Stand down, Raines," one said firmly. You're not arresting anyone." The chamber descended into chaos. People on their feet, phones recording, chanting, "Justice! Justice!" so loud the marble walls seemed to shake. State Attorney Patricia Walsh pushed through the crowd. "Captain Carter, I need those documents. All of them. Now." More investigators arrived, securing exits, collecting evidence, taking names. Charles Wilson tried to slip away. An investigator blocked his path. "Mr. Wilson, we'll need you to stay." Officer Rodriguez approached Raines with handcuffs. The symbolism wasn't lost on anyone. The cop who'd arrested a captain for shopping was now being arrested himself. As they cuffed him, Raines kept his eyes locked on Denise. Pure hatred, but also fear, because he knew what was coming. The entire system he'd helped build, the machine that had destroyed so many lives, was crumbling around him. 3 weeks later, Greenwood Mall looked like a ghost town. Yellow police tape across store entrances, signs reading "under investigation" or "temporarily closed." The few open stores had more employees than customers. The food court was half empty. The mall that had been the engine of a criminal enterprise was now a crime scene. Officer James Raines was charged with conspiracy, fraud, extortion, and civil rights violations. His partner Martinez faced similar charges. Judge Harrison was removed from the bench pending investigation. 4 city council members resigned when their names appeared in the financial documents. New Horizon Supervision Services had its contracts terminated. The company faced federal investigation for racketeering. Charles Wilson, the mall's CEO, tried to flee the Satizub country. He was arrested at the airport. 47 cases were being reviewed for dismissal. 47 people who'd been coerced into guilty pleas were getting their lives back. Criminal records erased. Probation fees refunded. Some even filed civil suits for false arrest and malicious prosecution. The city established an independent review board to investigate police misconduct. Real oversight with real teeth. No more reports that disappeared. No more complaints buried by the people being complained about. And Denise? She got her badge back, full reinstatement back pay, and a formal apology from the mayor. But more importantly, she got something else. She became a symbol. Proof that standing up to corrupt systems, even when you're scared, even when you're alone, even when they threaten everything you love, can actually work. So why did I spend the last hour telling you this story? Because of the challenge I mentioned at the beginning. The thing that Denise Carter's arrest exposed is still happening everywhere, every day, in every city. Racial profiling isn't just about individual bias. It's often part of larger systems designed to extract money from vulnerable communities. Private probation companies, cash bail systems, civil asset forfeiture, all legal, all profitable, all devastating to the people caught in them. And the solution? The solution that Denise demonstrated isn't complicated. It's documentation, organization, and refusing to be silent. She documented everything, every threat, every arrest, every piece of evidence. She organized allies, Maya, the journalist, Carl, the attorney, Tiana and other witnesses, the community activists who'd been tracking Raines for years, and she refused to be silent, even when silence would have been safer. Here's what I need you to understand. Denise wasn't a superhero. She was scared. She was isolated. She was facing threats against her family. But she knew that staying silent meant the system would keep destroying lives. So she spoke up. And because she spoke up, 47 people got justice. Hundreds more were spared from becoming future victims. An entire criminal enterprise was dismantled. That's the benefit of what she did, not just for herself, for everyone who comes after. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. I'm not a police captain. I don't have those resources. What can I do? Here's what you can do. First, if you see something like this happening, record it. Your phone is the most powerful accountability tool you have. That video from Tiana Brooks? That was the spark that started everything. Second, share these stories. The algorithm wants you to stay comfortable, to scroll past injustice, to forget what you saw in 5 minutes. Don't let it. Share this video. Share these stories. Make people uncomfortable with the truth. Third, support the organizations fighting these battles. The defense attorneys are taking cases pro bono. The journalists are investigating corruption. The community groups documenting abuse. They need resources, visibility, and backing. And fourth, understand that this isn't just about other people. These systems don't care about your education, your job, or your respectability. Denise Carter was a police captain, and it didn't save her from those handcuffs. Nobody is safe when injustice is the system's foundation. Here's what haunts me about Denise Carter's story. She wasn't the first person Raines arrested on false charges. She was just the first one with enough power to fight back effectively, which means there are dozens, maybe hundreds of cases where people didn't have her resources, didn't have her knowledge of the system, didn't have allies who could help them navigate the legal maze. Those people took plea deals to avoid trial, paid probation fees they couldn't afford, got trapped in a cycle of debt and surveillance that followed them for years. Their stories don't get told, their arrests don't go viral, but their suffering is just as real. And that's the thing about corruption. It's not an aberration. It's not a few bad apples. It's a feature of systems designed to extract value from the most vulnerable people while protecting the powerful. Greenwood Mall wasn't unique. That exact scheme, private probation companies profiting from false arrests, has been documented in dozens of American cities. The names change, the locations change, but the pattern is always the same. Target marginalized communities. Use law enforcement to funnel people into the system. Extract money through fees and fines. Punish anyone who resists. Denise Carter's victory matters because it showed that the pattern can be broken. That documentation and organization and courage can overcome institutional corruption. But her victory also revealed how many similar schemes are still operating unchallenged. So here's what I want you to do right now. If this story made you angry, good. Use that anger. Don't let it dissipate in 5 minutes when you scroll to the next video. Channel it into action. First, subscribe to this channel. I'm dedicated to exposing stories like Denise Carter's, stories that reveal how power actually operates in this country. Stories that the mainstream media won't touch because they're too controversial or too uncomfortable for advertisers. Second, comment below with your own experiences. Have you been profiled? Have you seen it happen to others? What city? What store? Building that archive of experiences helps establish patterns that can't be dismissed as isolated incidents. Third, and this is crucial, research your local police department's relationships with private contractors. Who handles probation in your county? Who profits from bail bonds? Who gets paid when someone's incarcerated? Follow the money. That's where you'll find the corruption. And fourth, support the people fighting these battles. When you see someone standing up to injustice, even when it's hard, back them up. Repost their stories. Show up at their court dates. Donate to their legal funds. Solidarity isn't abstract. It's a concrete action. I want to end with something Denise told me when I researched this story. She said the hardest part wasn't the arrest. It wasn't the threats. It wasn't even the betrayal of discovering corruption in her own department. The hardest part was the moment, standing in that mall, when she had to decide whether to submit or resist, because submitting would have been safer. Showing her bag, accepting the humiliation, and going home would have avoided everything that followed. But it also would have meant accepting that this was normal, that being targeted for shopping while black was just something to endure. The system didn't need to change because the system was working as designed. She chose resistance. And that choice cost her. It cost her peace of mind, her sense of safety, her trust in the institution she'd served for 20 years. But it also saved 47 people from being the next victims. It exposed a criminal conspiracy. It forced systemic change. That's the choice we all face when we encounter injustice. Submit or resist. Stay quiet or speak up. Protect ourselves or protect each other. There's no easy answer. Both choices have consequences. But I know which choice creates the world I want to live in. And I think Denise Carter knew too. If you made it this far, thank you. This story matters. Denise Carter's courage matters. Your attention to these issues matters. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, because I'm going to keep bringing you stories like this. Stories that make you uncomfortable. Stories that challenge what you think you know about how power operates in America. Stories that maybe might inspire you to be a little braver when you face your own moment of choosing between submission and resistance. Drop a comment telling me what you think. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, systems change when enough people refuse to accept them as they are. Captain Denise Carter proved that. Now it's our turn to prove it too. I'll see you in the next one.